pre-beginner yoga. I'm afraid to. Upgrade not now. Thank you, computer machine. I'm afraid to, because I've been doing yoga for a few years now, probably 4 or so, and well, how can I put this? Once you've been doing something for a while, you're kind of like, rah, rah, warrior one, warrior two, la, la, la. And you can forget the basics of the pose. So this is challenging for me too, to slow down, as it may be challenging to you also if you are coming to yoga for your very first time today. So don't be afraid, both of us. So get onto a yoga mat or a piece of carpet. Anything will do, truly. And we'll get started. I'll be gentle on both of us. All right. So the style of yoga I teach is called Vinyasa yoga. It means kind of moving with purpose or some nonsense. I forget. It's like to place in a special way is the Sanskrit term for it. Who cares about all these fancy words? Sit cross-legged. Now, if cross-legged doesn't feel comfy for you, then sit with your legs just out in front of you. They could be closed. They could be a little bit open. Closed is a good idea. And then scooch your butt out from underneath you. So pull your cute little butt flesh out from underneath you. And then sit up nice and tall. And so what I mean by that is I want you to begin thinking about parts of your body one at a time. So the first thing I want you to do is think about tilting your head down. A lot of us have this tendency, we crane our necks. Women do it a lot. I'm listening to you, I'm showing empathy, you know, and that's a beautiful thing, but you don't have to. You can tilt your chin down and still show empathy. The next thing. Relax your shoulders. This is something you hear a lot in yoga classes, and if you hold tension in your neck and shoulders, that alone can feel like a challenge. So one thing that might help you is to consider, and maybe you have a mirror nearby and can look, consider if you're holding one shoulder up. This is another thing people do to protect themselves, like, don't talk to me. Or maybe it's, I'm a millennial and I'm super adorable, which is true, but also for yoga, see if you can bring your shoulders in line. Okay. Flex your toes if you can. And then pull your belly in. Now is not the time to admonish yourself about whether or not you have a six-pack. Just pull your belly in. Close your eyes. You can rest your hands comfortably on your thighs. I will now teach you the Ujjayi Pranayama breath. This is known as the breath of fire in yoga. It builds heat in your body. So if at any time you begin to feel overheated in class, breathe out through your mouth. It's one of the reasons why when people run, they sometimes go But as much as possible, if you can handle a little heat in your body, always breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. So close your eyes, you're doing that, you're just breathing in and out through your nose, it's relaxing. Now on your breath in, your belly expands, it grows bigger. And on your breath out, you pull your belly button toward your spine. You pull your belly in. That's beautiful. You're doing great. Bring your hands together. Namaste, prayer position. This pose is called. And set an intention for your practice. I'm going to share a secret with you. My intention every single time I do yoga is always the same, and it is to have a good time. Even if I'm heartbroken about something, even if I'm going through something really challenging in my life, quiet your mind, find an intention for your practice. Maybe it's to be self-accepting of yourself as you try this for possibly the first time. Breathe in your intention. Let it go. Breathe in, sweep your arms up overhead. Seated mountain pose. Now, instead of leaving your arms up like this with your shoulders hiked around your ears, intentionally lower your shoulders down. You got that? Take one more breath in. As you breathe out, seated forward fold. So go as far as you can go, and when your hamstrings start screaming at you, bring your hands to your, someone's about to bust on in here, probably my hubby or someone. When you get there, just breathe. Don't be intimidated by the fact that I'm grabbing my feet. This is not my first rodeo. Who cares? Now, while you're in your seated forward fold, I want you to continue to pull your belly in. In yoga, fancy person yoga, they call this your Uddiyana Bandha or Uddiyana Bandha or something. I was like never listening in teacher training, but all it means is this. So you keep your belly pulled in while you're in the pose and breathing fully. So keep pulling that belly in. Beautiful work. Breathe in, lift your arms up overhead. Seated mountain pose. Take one more breath in here. Seated twist. Bring your left arm to the outside of your right thigh and your right arm behind you and close to your right butt cheek. Now from here, instead of slouching, bending over, see if you can sit up. So this is more about keeping a straight spine than it is about twisting as far as you can twist. So see if you can keep your spine straight and then pull your belly in. Consider you're like wringing out a tea towel, and the tea towel is your torso. One more. Beautiful. Breathe in your arms back up overhead. Exhale, seated twist, the opposite side. You're a pro now. Get into tabletop pose. Your wrists are right under your shoulders and your knees are under your hips. If you experience wrist pain, arthritis, anything like that, instead of having a flat palm on the mat, grip it like a little claw and see if you're able to do that. And then we're going to do some cat-cows. First of all, I want you to think about hip distance apart. And when we say hip distance apart in yoga, we're talking about where the bones are in your hips, not where the beautiful part of your hips are. You've got like beautiful big hips. Not like me with my tiny little skinny mini. I eat all the things, guys. Nothing works. Trying to get a Kardashian ass. Here we go. Inhale. Cow pose. Let your belly drop and gaze up to the ceiling. Exhale, cat through your nose. Press into your hands. Lift the rib cage. There's 5 more. Breathe in. Out. Three more. In. Out. Press into the muscles in your fingers. Breathe in. Fingertips. Out. Good. Child's pose here. So, a couple of options. You can bring your knees together. You can sit back on your knees. Am I still in light? Maybe I should bring that light closer. Pause. Technical difficulty. There's no way I'm editing this. Do I look like some kind of technical expert? I can barely get dressed in the morning. Okay, so here are the options for child's pose. Bring your knees together, your arms straight out in front of you, keeping your belly pulled in, and keep breathing through this whole class of me yammering on. In through the nose, out through the nose, building heat in your body. Stretch your arms out in front of you. Bring your third eye, your forehead, forehead to the mat. Let go of the tension in your mouth. Let go of the tension in your armpits. Let go of the tension in your shoulders. Let go of the tension in the back of your neck. Another option for child's pose is keep your big toes together. Separate your knees out as far as feels comfortable to you. Not to me or anyone else besides you. And then same thing, pull your belly in and stretch your arms out as far as you can, bringing your forehead to the mat. I have flexible hips, and so it really doesn't feel good to me unless I open my legs really wide. Humble brag, it's not always good, guys. Like, if if you have 3 babies, you got to really restore that pelvic floor before you do the splits, or else you'll never be as tight as you were. And I worked on that really heavily. And now I can say everything's all good. Okay, should I have said that in a yoga class? You got to work your pelvic floor as well. I'm going to show you how later in this class. So stretching out, child's pose. So while you're in child's pose, every time you breathe out, Kegel. Every time you breathe out, Kegel. Try to lift up and in. And even if you're a man, try to lift up and in. So some men describe this to me as like a tightening of their butthole. This is probably the cure for prostate cancer. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Downward facing dog. So curl your toes. If you already know that downward facing dog is too much for you, and I've had that expressed to me, try this little fire toes pose instead. Curl your toes and just sit back on your toes. Maybe you sit up, keeping your belly pulled in a prayer position. So in this way, you are stretching the muscles in your toes, in your feet, in your ankles. This is great if you're a runner or a walker. If you want to be the downward facing dog, put your hands out in front of you, shoulder width apart, and I think like kind of close to your biceps close to your ears. And then lift your hips up, pull your belly in, separate your feet out as much as feels comfortable to you. Hip distance apart. Wider might feel better, but hip distance is good. Bend the knees. Your heels may not touch the mat, and that doesn't matter one tiny little bit. And then there's not going to be an exam at the end of this. But drive your heel toward the mat. Let your head hang. Maybe you bend your elbows a little bit to take pressure off your elbow joints. Put some more pressure in the outside of your hands, those muscles there, and the finger muscles. Think of the finger muscles gripping the mat instead of a flat palm. Good. And then everyone into gorilla pose. So if you're in downward dog, take a few little steps forward. If you're in fire toes pose, join us here. I'm going to turn to face you guys. Your feet hip distance apart, wider may feel preferable. Bend your knees, reach for opposite elbows, let your head hang. And sway. Remember when you were a little baby? Maybe you were rocked by someone. In through your nose. Out through your nose.
it's nice to be upside down. You're perfectly safe and you are activating your parasympathetic nervous system, the part of you that helps you calm down. Toe, heel, your feet together really slowly, really slowly. Keep your knees bent. Let your arms hang. If you have low blood pressure or any kind of dizzy, woo disease, I want you to stand up one vertebrae at a time, as slow as you can. The last one to stand up is the best at yoga. It's a race to be slow. Keep your belly pulled in on the way.
Step back so you can see. Breathe in, mountain pose. Sweep your arms up over your head. Keep your heels together if you can. Hands to heart center. 2 more like that. Breathe in. Breathe out. If your low back hurts, tilt your tailbone under. 1 more. One more, mountain pose, sweeping arms up overhead. Reach for your left hand with your right hand and bend over to the side. You can look down. Keep your belly muscles pulled in. See if you can lift up on your pelvic floor here. Can you kegel while you're standing? Your body knows how far it wants to bend. Half moon pose. Breathe in, come back for your mountain. Breathe out, half moon, the other side. Keep your abdominals pulled in. So let your abs help you here, your obliques. Squeeze your butt cheeks together. That will also help you. You're half of a moon. Breathe in, come back to center. Hands to heart. Now I will show you Warrior 1. There's 3 warrior poses. This is number 1. Wish I bought water out here. Joshua, I need a glass of water. You can't hear me. Playing with our child. So bend your knee. You want your knee over your ankle if you can. Your back leg, you want your foot out on a, I don't know about math, like a 45-degree angle, a 4,000-degree angle. Breathe in, lift your arms up over your head. And then do the thing I said before, settle your shoulders down so they're not hiked up around your ears. Consider now your hips. So look at me for a moment. If your hips are doing this, see if you can square your hips. Squeeze through your back, left butt cheek, arms up. Belly pulls in. Stay here for 3 breaths, you can. If your quad's on fire, Put more power into your left glute. Squeeze that more. Take some pressure off the front quad. Really good. And then before I show you warrior two, come down to the mat, lower that knee, half splits, wiggle this foot out in front of you, flex your toe back toward your face, and just stretch out a little here. A little break, but keep your belly pulled in and keep breathing through your nose. But of course, now you need to be a warrior one on the other leg. So jump up. I once had this drill sergeant yoga teacher. She was like, don't take a sip of water, elevate your practice. And I was like, girl, I'm taking a sip of water because you are really good at this and you are working me so hard. Same thing, knee over. My strap's in the way. Knee over ankle, right foot on a 45-degree angle. Square hips. Rotate the inside of that back thigh out. Pull your belly in. Instead of leaning forward, you're hoping that your shoulders are over your hips here. Arms up. There's power in your right glute now. There's power in your left quad. And there is power in your low abdominals. There's also power in your genitals. Believe it or not. So lift up on that. Let it help you. 2 more breaths. You're doing great. Good. The little break now. The knee to the mat. Half splits. Flex your toe back toward your face. Warrior two. All right. Is it time for bed yet? Okay. Bend your knee. Your knee is over your ankle. Your knee is over, like in line with your second big toe. Your back foot, it can be diagonal. It can be like parallel with the end of the yoga mat. Don't go for flexibility here if you're not very flexible, because this is a strengthening pose above all else. And then tilt your tailbone under. Oh my God. Let's take a minute to the lunge. Bring your arms out. Not too high, not too low. They're in line with where your shoulders are. Bend into that lunge. Pull your low belly in. Look forward. Gaze over your third finger. Squeeze that back glute. There. Squeeze your low belly. One more. Woo! Forward fold. we be a warrior on the other side. Open your legs as wide as feels good. Hang your head. Hang your head in pride, guys. You're ready. Lift up. Warrior on the other side. Now think about your hips, where they are. Ideally, you want your hips to be facing the front. Hiya. You know, like that. So if you can keep your hips like that and then open that knee over that toe, then squeeze that back glute. Don't crane through your neck. You don't need to look over your finger. And if you press down through your hands, kind of energetically, you will fire up your triceps. You'll tone your triceps by doing this. If you're tilting forward in Warrior 2, bring back, shoulders over hips. One more breath. Very, very, very good. I'm going to show you Warrior 3. It's a challenging pose. You might want something to hang on to, like a wall. It's a balance pose. Start on your left leg. Pull your belly in. Feel the fullness of your left foot on the mat. It really is supporting you here. And then, you know, you keep hold of the wall if you want to. Start to keeping your belly pulled in. Extend the leg out behind you. Squeeze your inner thighs. So keep your inner thighs squeezed together. Does that make sense? And then if you wanna, look straight down. Whatever you're looking at, really see it. So bend the left knee, squeeze the left glute, squeeze the right glute, pull the belly in. You are strong and you will get here. If you're not in a Warrior 3 today, it's on the way. It is on the way for you, I believe it. In this life or the next. I like to bring my arms back behind me because if you lift your arms up, that's a tricep workout. Keep that belly pulled in. Forward fold. That just means feet together. Surrender. Mountain pose. Root your feet into the mat. Bend your knees and stand up. Hands to heart. You can do this. Bring your awareness to your right foot. Feel the entirety of it on the mat and just lift your left foot up off the mat. Bend your right knee a little bit. Pull your belly in. Find something to look at on the ground. Find something to look at on the ground. Keep the right leg bent. Keep the left glute squeezing. One more breath, you got it. Forward fold and come into a little ball. So sit on your mat. Woo. Lie on your mat. Better yet, you just learned 3 warrior poses. That's awesome. Lie here. Return to your intention in your mind. Take some deep breaths and meditate on your intention before we move on. Very good. Now bring your legs up. So think about your knees being over your hips, not too close in, over your hips. We're going to do 5 sit-ups. I know this is yoga, guys, but the stronger your core is, the easier the poses become. And the poses themselves will strengthen your core. So you can put your hands behind your head. You can put them out here. You lift up on the breath out. Some people like to look up at the ceiling. I have found for my neck, and an anatomy teacher told me this once, to actually look between your legs. If you need more, if you've got like a stronger core, you can lift your legs up, all the way up. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wind relieving pose. Hug your knees into your chest. This is called wind relieving pose. And then rock left and rock right. Really nice. And then you can massage your spine a little bit by bringing your hands behind your thighs, rocking if you wanna. We're not standing up, we're staying down here and hanging out. A kneeling crescent lunge, this pose is called. Once again, knee over your ankle. Now, if you have pain in your knees, you can whack like a towel under there, or a jumper, or a sweater, or whatever. And then sit up. You are new. You might have to adjust how wide apart your legs are. And then bring your hands to your thighs. Keep your belly pulled in. Look straight ahead. Squeeze your left butt cheek, yeah? You're stretching the front of this muscle in your left leg here. The more you activate your core and focus on the steady breathing, the more balance you will have. If you want to, you can sweep your arms up overhead. If you want to try even more today, bring your thumbs to the nape of your neck. Keep pulling your belly in and feel your inner thighs and imagine they want to pull together. But they can't because your right foot is so grounded and your left foot, the top of it, is so grounded also. Very good. Now we're going to do the other side, except I kind of want to give you a challenge, a twist here. Leave your left hand on your right thigh and extend your right arm back. Keep pulling your belly in. Anytime you twist, you want to pull your belly in. This helps your digestion, by the way. So instead of lowering that arm down, have it be in line with your shoulder. If you need to pick up here again, see what I just did. It's up here. Maybe you can extend your left arm. Good, my quad hurts, so I'm ready to do it on the other side. Crickety crack, these 40-year-old knees. Kneeling crescent. Kneeling crescent pose. Your hands rest on your thighs. Your right glute squeezes. Your belly pulls in. Think about knitting your abdominals together. So think about them coming together like this. Visualize that. As you breathe out, they knit together. And now the challenge. The right hand to the left knee. The left arm extends back. Instead of hanging out down here, you lift it up in line with your shoulder. You keep pulling into that belly. You breathe in. And every time you breathe out, you twist to your edge and not beyond. To your edge. Different for all of us and it changes every day. Maybe you extend the right arm forward. You're building tricep strength even now. Imagine someone is pulling your fingers in opposite direction. And we often feel pulled in many directions, especially if you're a mommy. Yeah, you got 3 babies that you love and they all need your attention all at once. You got to keep that balance. Good. Give up on that pose. Now, lie down on your tummy. Oh, yes, please. Ugh. First of all, bring your arms alongside of you. Wriggle your fingers towards your feet so your shoulders are not hiked up around your ears. Take a few breaths here and feel the earth supporting you, lifting you up. It's literally holding you here. You can play with extending your Ujjayi pranayama breath, so you can attempt to breathe in for 6 seconds through your nose and breathe out for 6 seconds through your nose. Let the counts match. Breathe in and out for the same amount of seconds. And then switch and look to the other side. Opposite ear to the mat. Good for your neck. Really nice. You're ready to be a cobra now. Bring your hands under your shoulders. So even with where your shoulders are, your feet, the tops of your feet drive into the mat and your legs squeeze together, because you're a cobra and snakes don't have legs. They just have like one really long leg or whatever. So keep your legs together. And then look straight down at the mat. Think about the creases in the back of your neck, and you don't want any of those. So looking down, your hands here at your shoulders, and then on the in-breath, peel your chest off the mat, squeeze your inner thighs, squeeze your glutes. You'll feel this in all the muscles in your back and in your glutes. If you feel strong enough, you can float your hands off the mat and traction your elbows back toward your heels. Only if it feels like you can. It's perfectly acceptable leaving hands on mat. But otherwise, the more you do that, and the more you attempt to lift your chest while keeping your booty very squeezed, the stronger you are making your back. Three breaths. Nice. Press up and back, back to child's pose. Another option for child's pose is, oh, sorry, planting. I have killed you. Bring your arms long beside you. Good. Now just a little bit for your hips, a hip opener. Which one do you want to do? You want to do half pigeon? All right. Bring your right leg diagonal and send your left leg back behind you. Point your toe. Look behind you and see if that leg is straight in line with you. And you might need to adjust. I always do. Now, if you're here and you cannot feel a lot of sensation in the outside of your right hip, try this on for size. Flex your right foot and then wriggle it up, trying to get it eventually, maybe one day, parallel with the top of your mat. I then like to press into my foot and then roll this left hip down toward the mat, and then I certainly start feeling things not only in the outside of my right hip, but the inside, my groin on the right hand side there. When you find the leg variation that works for you, either diagonal or with a flexed parallel shin, you can stay up like this, or you can fold forward onto your forearms and surrender into this pose. Surrendering is hard for me some days, because some days I like to stay up here, and then I like to curl my back toe under and lift my knee up and be like, no, I'm going to work out my glutes even while I'm here. I'm going to lift my arms up. Rah! This is yoga. This is Sparta. But sometimes you got to surrender. Okay. There's no easy way out of a challenging hip opener. You just got to move real slow. Oh, I'm very old. Oh. That's how you have to do it. And then do the same thing on the other side. A diagonal foot, parallel foot, your right leg, peek over your shoulder, make sure it's in line with you. If your knees hurt, use that sweater again. One hip is usually more open than the other. None of us are all the way symmetrical. Not one single one of us. As you breathe out, you fold forward. But first I have to do Sparta on the other side. So I curl my toes under, and then I lift my knee up, and then I lift my arms up over my head, and I go, rah, just try to challenge me. Facebook asking me if I remember my password. Of course I don't. And then I surrender. Two more breaths. You can make it. Nice. The last thing before Shavasana is for your spine. Bridge pose or supported bridge. If you have a block, should have mentioned that at the start of class, forgot, because I mostly just make things up as I go along. If you don't have a block, this is supported bridge. Your feet, hip distance apart, wriggle your shoulders down, back, Press your hands and feet into the mat, and as you breathe in, one vertebrae at a time, like your spine is a serpent, curl it up really slow, and then tilt your chin a little bit. Maybe you could hold like a small peach between your chin and your throat. Press in to the mat with your hands and feet. Squeeze your inner thighs here and squeeze your glutes and pull your belly in. See if you can lift a little bit higher. If you want to use the block to make this more restorative and less like booty toning, you can just find the triangle bone at the base of your spine, which is called the sacrum, and then hang out on this block. If you're in bridge and you've had enough, curl all the way down, one vertebrae at a time, thinking again of yourself as a serpent. It's really good. Good. Remove the block. You are ready for Shavasana, and I'm going to guide you through it. I want you to lie down. Oh, yeah. I want you to roll your ankles out. I want you to have your palms up or down, whatever feels good to you. I want you to, I ask you to feel the earth supporting you. Sink into it. Now I'm going to guide you in. Wherever you are in your journey as it relates to yoga and your life is perfect for you. Please know that whatever you did or did not achieve here on the mat physically is of zero importance. You showed up to your mat, which is an act of honoring the self. And anytime we do something that honors the self, it radiates to everyone around us that we care about. So good work. I will leave you here in meditation. Meditation is simply the act of letting go and breathing. And instead of following your thoughts down silly little rabbit holes that lead to jokes or memories or traumas or anything like that, look for the empty place where your thoughts